Good afternoon, it's John Heaton, and in celebration of Paul McCartney turning 80, which was yesterday, I thought I'd have a go at selecting my favourite post-Beatles McCartney songs, which includes Wings, by the way. This was inspired initially by a friend of mine, Marcus, sending me the Guardian's selection of their top 30, and which I read with interest. It was some interesting choices, but as with all of these lists, no one can ever agree, and so I was a bit infuriated by some of the selections of what was selected and what was not selected, and I guess some of you might be infuriated with my selections, but it's just a subjective list, just my list, and I don't expect you to agree. And I've also tried to select, some of the more obscure stuff. I've not just gone for the obvious ones, so this is a very personal list. And I'm not going to show the album covers in every case. I've got them all here, but it might be a bit much to actually reach for the individual album cover to show which each song is coming from, but I'll try and show a few. So I'll start at the bottom and work my way up. So number 50, we've got Beware My Love from Speed of Sound, 76. About the only rocker on that album, and a very successful one, live in concert on the Wings Over America tour of 76. Then we've got at 49 a track from Rose Speedway, an early Wings album with Henry McCulloch, Denny Sewell on drums, and I've chosen One More Kiss just because it's about my favourite track on the album. I think it's a glorious melody. And as you'll see when I finish, by the way, if you've ever tried to do a list like this, it's bloody hard, and there's a lot of songs I had to leave out. I mean, we're talking literally hundreds of songs to choose from, and you can only choose 50. You're going to find yourself leaving out a lot of good stuff. So just because a song doesn't make the list here, doesn't mean I don't love it, because I had to select, as I say, just my top 50. Number 48 is another song from Rose Speedway. It's the opener, Big Barn Bed. And when I first did this list, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 songs I'd realised I'd left out, so I had to stick. I'll show you the list at the end. Basically, had to get rid of 5 selections and put those 5 in that I'd left out, because I didn't feel as if it was fair to leave them out, because they really are among my favourites. Big Barn Bed has a great groove to it. Mad, nonsensical lyrics, but none the worse for that. Absolutely love it. Then we've got Heart of the Country, which is my first selection from the Ram album, 1971, the opening track, side 2. And when I met Paul at the BBC in December of 87, I remember saying, as he was leaving, Heart of the Country, I like that track, and he looked back and said, "Oh, you like that one, do you? Great," or something like that. So that's a good memory for me. Then we've got my first selection from Wildlife, 1971, and I've chosen Dear Friend, the closing track, which was a very heartfelt tribute to John Lennon, and beautiful piano tune, love it. Then we've got 45, another track from Ram, from side 2 of Ram, Eat at Home, which is the kind of upbeat Buddy Holly style rocker. I think it's absolutely sensational. I'm not sure if I can find, oh yeah, here we go. My first selection from Flowers in the Dirt is next. At number 44, we have Put It There, the last track on side 1. A beautiful tribute to his dad, who used to say, "Put it there if it weighs a ton," meaning stick his hand out to shake hands and make up after an argument or something like that. I think it's a beautiful song. Then we've got a selection from the 75 Venus and Mars album from Wings, the opening track, Venus and Mars and Rock Show, but actually I'm going to, if you don't mind, select the live version from Wings Over America, because I prefer it, but it's a great 1-2 opener for that live show, and also for the album, Venus and Mars. Number 42, I don't actually have the Press to Play album in here to show you, but it's the only selection from the Press to Play album, Good Times Coming, Feel the Sun, the medley on side 1. I think it's outstanding and worth checking out. Then we've got at 41 another track from Ram, Uncle Albert, Admiral Halsey, and this is a really clever kind of medley type construction with at least three different songs added together, and it works like a treat. The words are a little bit zany, but I think I love it. It's genius. Number 40, we have another selection from the '76 album Speed of Sound, and I've chosen Silly Love Songs, the huge #1 hit single in the US of that year, and I think it was #2 in the UK. Superb bass line, and the lyrics are self-explanatory. You know, some people want to fill the world with silly love songs, and what's wrong with that? I'd like to know, because here I go again. You know, a slightly defensive lyric, but I love it. It's, well, in one way it's defensive, in one way it's sticking up the finger at the critics and saying, who cares if I write sentimental songs? That's my business. Then 39, I have a selection from Back to the Egg, which I can't seem to find at the moment. No, can't find it. It's the 1979 album from Wings, and the last track on side 1, Arrow Through Me. It's a synthesizer-driven number, and if you watch the video of this, they're all sort of playing the keyboards. It's quite effective, and it's got a tune to die for, this particular track, and it's a really strong, one of the strongest songs on that final Wings album. Number 38, we have my first selection from London Town, 1978, and I've chosen Cafe on the Left Bank, side 1, track 2, storming bass line, really great lyrics, and great guitar from Jimmy McCulloch, one of his last hurrahs with the band before he left. And Joe English is also on this track. This song was recorded on a boat in the Virgin Islands, and it's very atmospheric, and play this one loud. Number 37. Going back to the Venus and Mars album, I've chosen Letting Go, and again, it's a bit cheeky, but I'm going to select the live version from Wings Over America, because I prefer it. I think it rocks harder. I think the album version's a little bit on the safe side, sound-wise or production-wise. I prefer the live version, a little bit raunchier. And it's a great song. Number 36, I've chosen the B-side of Helen Wheels, Country Dreamer, which was from the same sessions as Red Rose Speedway. Didn't make it onto the album. I think it's a charming B-side. Check it out. Number 35, we go back to Wildlife, the Wings debut album, and the first track on side 2, Some People Never Know. Very underrated track. Hardly anyone talks about this. It's got a lovely melody, beautifully sung by Paul, going into his normal falsetto, semi-falsetto range, and love it to bits. 34 is the opening track from Ram. Actually, I've chosen Too Many People, which some say was a bit of a dig at Lennon, but it's also a defiant song, and it's sticking up for himself. You know, he was going through a tough time round about the time of recording Ram, with the Beatles splitting up and the whole world seemingly being against him, and here he was, you know, coming out with some of the best music of his career. 33, I've gone for a track from the opening album, McCartney, and I've chosen Teddy Boy, which a lot of people don't like, and they say they can see why the Beatles didn't want to finish it off, because it's in the Get Back documentary. But I think it's a charming melody, and it's a nice story of a mother and son relationship. I think it's superb. Number 32, I'm not going to show the album cover again. It's from Red Rose Speedway. It's the last track on side 1, Little Lamb Dragonfly. And this one made it into the Guardian's top 30, actually, which I found quite a pleasant surprise, because it's a little known track from that album, and only the fans seem to know it. But it's brilliant. 31 is from the Memory Almost Full album, and it's the track. I've chosen the track That Was Me, which I think is a storming number with great lyrics. And I did originally have Dance Tonight in this top 50, but I had to lose it because I had 5 songs that I'd left off, so that was one of the ones which missed out, unfortunately. Number 30, we're going to go back to London Town and play the track from side 2, the laid-back number Don't Let It Bring You Down, which is again beautifully sung by Paul, using the full range of his voice from the bass notes up until the falsetto. I think it's beautiful, and lovely harmonies from Linda and Denny, and very peaceful song. And you can tell again that this was recorded in in the on the ocean in the Virgin Islands. Number 29, I've gone for a track from Tug of War, and I've chosen Wanderlust. And this was a song which initially I had somehow managed to leave out of the top 50, so I had to get rid of one of my choices and put it in here somewhere. I just think it's an absolutely sensational ballad. One of Paul's best ever piano tunes of his entire career, including Beatles. Just effortless melody and wonderful words actually about getting busted for pot or whatever happened out in the Virgin Islands when they got into a bit of trouble for smoking weed, and I think the police tried to raid their boat or came close to doing so. So that's what the song is loosely about. Number 28, another one I'd left off the list and had to find a place for it, is a track from Driving Rain, the 2001 album, and it's Your Loving Flame, which is a sensational ballad written for Heather at the time. Lovely tune. Just absolutely adore this song. It's by quite a distance the best song on that particular album, in my opinion. Number 27, we have a selection from Off the Ground, 1993 album. Don't have it to show you here, but I've chosen the track from side 2, Wine Dark Open Sea, just because I love the mood that it evokes with those words, sailing on a wine dark open sea. I think they're really clever words. Maybe someone else has used that concept before, probably have, but I think the combination of those words and the melody is sensational. Number 26, I've gone for another track from Flowers in the Dirt, and it's not the obvious one. I did have My Brave Face on this list, but it didn't make it in the end. But I've chosen one of my favourites, which is from side 2, That Day Is Done. I think it's really powerful song. It's co-written with Elvis Costello and very atmospheric and builds up to the chorus, very emotionally sung. Now we're into the top 25, and I've chosen another track from Tug of War, the beautiful tribute to John Lennon. Very heartfelt song. I don't think Paul's written as heartfelt a song as this in his entire career. He really means every word, and I can't sing enough praise of this song. It's just absolutely brilliant. And number 24, I've chosen the title track, which is probably the best lead-off track of his entire career, post-Beatles, with maybe the exception of Bound on the Run. I think it's a sensational opener, and I love the way it builds up in power with the electric guitar from Denny Laine coming in and on the second verse, and wonderful words, very wonderful philosophical words, superb. Number 23, I've chosen the big hit single from Give My Regards to Broad Street, so everyone tends to slag off that movie, rightly so, but they forget in doing so, and The Guardian pointed this out in their article. One forgets what a superb song No More Lonely Nights was, and it was effortlessly made the top of the charts in the UK. I'm not sure how it did in the US, but it's just vintage McCartney. And number 22, I've chosen a track from McCartney 2. Again, not the obvious one. I've gone for One of These Days, the final track, because I just find it really peaceful and glorious melody. I'm repeating the same adjectives a lot in this review, sorry about that. Number 21, we're back to Bound on the Run, and this superb album from 1973. And I've chosen Bluebird with the ballad, and they do this in sensational fashion on the live tour of '76. Lovely harmony vocals from Linda and Denny. It's got a real Wings vocal sound here on the chorus, and beautiful melody and lovely words. Number 20, I've chosen a track from 1997's Flaming Pie. So you'll be happy about this, David Jenner. It's your favourite, I know. And I've chosen Little Willow from side 2, which I remember it later turning up on a tribute album to Princess Diana, who died shortly after this album came out, I think. And this album turned up on a kind of Diana tribute album, but actually it was written as a tribute to Maureen Starkey, Ringo's first wife, who had passed away. And once you know that, it becomes even more moving to listen to. And I just love the way the piano comes in the middle 8 bit. A very strong song. And then number 19, we've got Daytime, Nighttime Suffering, the B-side of the Goodnight Tonight single from '79, with the final lineup of Wings, Lawrence Juba and Steve Holley. along with Paul, Linda and Denny, and this is a superb B-side. It was very nearly the A-side apparently, and then they came up with Good Night Tonight in the nick of time. It won the day as the A-side, but as B-sides go, this is about as good as it gets. And talking about B-sides, actually this was a double A-side. Girls' School was the double A-side which backed to Mull of Kintyre, and this is a storming rocker from the Jimmy McCulloch, Joe English Wings lineup, which for some reason was missed off Wingspan. I don't know why Paul didn't include it, because it really is one of the best rockers of their entire career, and it's one of those songs which just seems to have been a little bit forgotten by a lot of people, but not by me. And what Mull of Kintyre was about the first single I ever bought, and so Girls' School was very early on in my musical journey. Number 17 I think we're up to now, and I did find the Back to the Egg, it's right here. So this is from Back to the Egg, and I've chosen Old Siam Sir, a storming rocker on side one. It only got to number 35 in the charts, some very disappointing chart performance, wasn't even a single in the US, but just listening to it, it really has stood the test of time. It's got that great guitar riff at the beginning, which there's some debate about who wrote that, whether it was Steve Holley or Denny Lane. And then these mad words about Walthamstow and Scarborough. I just think it's a really successful song, and about the best song on Back to the Egg, in my opinion. And then 16, we're going back to Flaming Pie, and I've chosen this outstanding ballad, Some Days. This is literally a classic McCartney ballad, on a par with anything he wrote with the Beatles or solo. It's absolutely sensational. Check it out if you haven't already. Number 15, we're going back to the McCartney album, chosen the second track on side one. That Would Be Something, which he attempted to do on the Unplugged 1991 or 92 concert, but not very successfully, because this album version is literally made great by the bass playing, by just the spontaneous bass playing on the song, which was completely missing on the Unplugged version. And it's got a beautiful melody, and this is one of the songs that George Harrison picked out as being great. In fact, he said only 2 songs on this album were great, Maybe I'm Amazed in this one, which was interesting. So, and again, not very much talked about by people, but one of my personal favourites. Number 14, we're back to Band on the Run, and I've gone for the title track. Could have easily been higher, but I guess I have overplayed this over the years. I love the live version on Wings of America, but I think I would go for the studio version in this case for this song. It's just a piece of magic. 3 songs again joined together and effortlessly, and made to seem very natural together, and a nice change in mood as each of the sections comes in. Very uplifting lyrics about freedom and escape and stuff, very good. And number 13 is from the same album, Band on the Run. We're going to go with Mrs. Vanderbilt. And I noticed I wasn't able to include every song from Band on the Run. There was a few I had to miss off, unfortunately, but that's the nature of these lists. And Mrs. Vanderbilt is included here. Just great bass playing, great singing, very uplifting, and just joie de vivre, all about this song. What's the use of worrying? No use. Very good advice. And number 12, we're back to the Speed of Sound album, and I've gone for the opening track, Let Him In, which is an outstanding track. Very simple. If you've ever tried to play it on the piano, it's not particularly difficult. And musically, it's not a very complex song, but it just works wonderfully well. And especially that chord change when he goes into the Sister Susie bit, it's just magic. And this song is very effective live. Not just on Wings of America, but even recently he's done it live, and it always goes down a treat. Number 11, gone with Let Me Roll It from Bound on the Run, another song which is a little bit overplayed. He tends to play it in concert a lot, but I'm not really complaining, because certainly the album version, whenever I go back to it, it's just stunning, because that guitar, the joint electric guitar with Paul and Denny playing there, and Paul's sort of echoey vocals, and just works a treat. And the bass playing is just a really good sound to the track, and some say he was trying to mimic John Lennon's style on this song, but I think if that was the case, it was kind of subconscious, if anything. Number 10, we are going for the single from Venus and Mars, the first single, Listen to What the Man Said, and this is just a really good, feel-good summer day song. Play it loud, out in the garden with a beer, the sun is shining, doesn't doesn't get better than this music, summertime music as far as I'm concerned. Number 9, Back to Speed of Sound with Warm and Beautiful, the beautiful piano ballad at the end of side 2, and a lot of people think it's a bit syrupy, and maybe it is, but I think it's absolutely sensational. Beautiful love song to Linda. I think Elvis Costello is on record saying it's one of his favourites. Certainly one of mine, and it's a nice one to play if you've ever tried. It's a good one to play. Number 8, we're going back to 1979, and the single Good Night Tonight, which is just a piece of magic. You know, yes, it was kind of jumping on the disco bandwagon in a way, but it's not really just disco as people keep on pointing out. It's more kind of flamenco style. And it's got the vocoder is used in there, and it's got I think the Guardian put it well, a kind of sleepy halftime melody, great melody, and the bass playing is fantastic. They said in that article, and it is some of the best bass playing of Paul's entire career, and I'm not exaggerating when I say that, it's in my opinion anyway. Number 7, we're going to go with the 1977 single Mull of Kintyre, which was absent from the Guardian's top 30 list, but it's not absent from mine. As you can see, it's very high. First single I ever bought. Very sentimental value for me. Saw it on Top of the Pops. I think my mother came in the room and said, that guy used to be in the Beatles. I said, did he? Who are the Beatles? And then the rest is history. Number 6, we are going to go back to London Town, and I'm going to choose the third track on side 1, I'm Carrying, which is amongst my favourite ballads of his entire career, and you can really picture him on the boat underneath the sunny skies, singing this song, just him and his acoustic with the sea surrounding him and the, jumping fish and stuff probably. It's just, I think George Harrison in an interview in '79 said he thought this track was sensational, and George Harrison didn't often praise Paul McCartney. In case you hadn't noticed, he's not overly enthusiastic in praising his former Beatle partner, but he did love this song. Number 5, we're into the top 5 now. Every Night, from the McCartney solo album. I just think it's in every way a perfect song, and lovely sentiment behind it, lovely melody. I'm speechless really. I can't think of enough good words to describe it. Number 4, the title track of this album, London Town. Not everyone's cup of tea, but I think it's absolutely brilliant, and lovely melody and very nice words as well. I just think this is a really well constructed song, well played. Jimmy McCulloch's audible on guitar, one of the last tracks he put down, I think, and it's just fantastic. Number 3, going back to the McCartney album, and Maybe I'm Amazed, which for many people would be number 1. It's number 3 on my list, which is pretty damn high. If I have to be honest, I probably do slightly prefer the Wings Over America live version, but they're both sensational. It's just an absolutely brilliant song, and again a nice one to play on the piano if you've ever tried. It's very nice chord changes, and I think Paul is on record saying this is the one he wants to be remembered for above all others, so which was nice to hear. Number 2, I've gone with his solo single Another Day, which was not in a picture sleeve in the UK. I think it was a picture sleeve in Europe. I'm on the lookout for the picture sleeve of that single. At the time, pretty much derided by the critics, but I think it's a brilliant song. Very nice story about an everyday situation and domestic situation, but really well told and well delivered. And Paul's bass playing is brilliant. The whole band sounds great. Same band as was used for the Ram sessions. Number 1 on my list is With a Little Luck, which was the lead-off single from London Town. This is my German copy, I think, or Dutch copy, sorry, of this single. Got to number 5 in the UK. Not sure, I think it was number 1 in the US. Not sure how it did in Europe, but It's, well, as you can see, it's number one on my list. It's my all-time favourite Wings song, all-time favourite McCartney song, and probably would be on my Desert Island discs if I was allowed to take 7 records to Desert Island, as that programme asks you to do. It would probably be up there. Great, just a great song in every way, and very uplifting. The willow turns his back on inclement weather, and if he can do it, we can do it. Just the me and you with a little luck. I just find it immensely uplifting as a song. Very positive message. Love the video, although it's cheesy as hell. It's great. So that was my top 50 post-Beatles McCartney. Here's the list for you to peruse briefly. Again, I don't expect you to agree or disagree. That's fine if you do either. Just my personal view, and thank you for spending the time on watching my personal selections. See you next time.